Good evening. Thank you for joining me tonight on What Does the Bible Say? My name is Caleb Robertson. I've been told that I'm supposed to give a plug for Steve Baisden. He has a potential debate with a Baptist preacher in Michigan, and he's, what's he wanting him to call him? He didn't leave his number. The Baptist preacher, Steve is hoping that you can get in contact with him. Tonight, before I get into my topic, I'd like to take a moment and introduce myself and let you know why I'm here and what all really I'm about. I'm 18 years old. I'm a senior in high school. And so far, I've decided that what I want to do is I want to try and present the Word of God to those who are being lied to by false, man-made doctrines. Growing up, I've seen certain events take place. I've seen the false doctrine, the lies to certain individuals, and I decided I want to put forth my effort to help those who are lost. Now this evening, I hope that my actions aren't taken the wrong way, that I come across as trying to be a glory hog. That's not at all what I want to do. And I hope that you know that I'm not up here at the prodding of my dad or anybody else in my family. This is all on my own accord. I've chosen to come up here. He's asked me on different occasions if I'd be interested in doing it, and I told him no, simply on the fact that it makes me sick to my stomach to think about getting up here. But tonight, like I said, I'm a senior in high school. I have a 3.9 grade point average, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that as in earlier in the year, I decided that I wanted to go and study law. But now I've changed my mind. This is what I want to do. I want to get into the Lord's work, and I want to help those who are in need. Now, like I said earlier, the things that I've seen, what I want to start out with tonight is show you and give you an example of exactly what I'm talking about. This was taken 3 years ago when I was 15. Now in the video it's going to say I was 14, but I was actually 15. And this took place at Faith Memorial Baptist on 58. And what happened was I went with Brother Mark McMinnis simply to videotape. That's all my job was to videotape. And we were going to ask the preacher just a simple question. Well, while being there, videoing the assembly, I had my camera out, a small camera, and someone came up behind me in my pew and just stole it out of my hands. Ran back to the foyer of the building, took my tape out, stole my tape, never gave it back, gave me my camera back. Mark actually had to go get it. But that's just the type of things that we're dealing with. And here is the clip from 3 years ago.
Him on here anyway. Caleb is, as I say, he's my 14-year-old son. Tonight, by invitation, Caleb was at the, what Baptist church was that? It was the Faith Memorial. So Caleb, what were you doing? Were you bothering anybody?
No, I was just taping what was going on in the service.
All right, what kind of service was it? Public? Private?
Yes, public.
All right, describe a public.
Visitors, everybody gathered around listening to the message.
All right.
And then at this time, they had stopped singing and we're doing a giving service, I guess, I don't know. So as I was taping, a man came up behind me and jerked the camera out of my hands, and then...
Bigger than me?
Yes.
All right, he came behind you, jerked this camera out of your hands, then what?
And then ran off with it.
And what was he, like, did he run to a preacher or run to...
No, he just took off down his pew and then went back to the foyer.
And so how'd you get it back?
Mark got it back.
And did it have the tape in it?
No, he had taken the tape.
Now, I'm asking media persons, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's actually theft when they take your tape away. Now, were you all causing any disturbance, do you think?
No.
All right. Thank you, Caleb. Now, folks.
Now we just saw that video 3 years ago. I don't know if you can see that picture at the bottom of the screen. That's their pastor, Daniel Lackey. Now, do you know, look at that video, how I looked, 15 years old. Daniel Lackey said when they talked to him about taking a camera from a 15-year-old, he said, "We didn't know he was 15. We thought he was 21. Are you kidding me? Did you see how scrawny and wimpy I looked? That is nowhere near the truth that I looked 21. But that's the type of thing that's going on in denominations today. Why would they feel that me having a camera was such a bad thing to have in their assembly that they needed to steal it from me? A man bigger than my dad, taller than both of us, much more built, buffed up in his 30s, came behind me and stole my camera. Now, I've seen these incidents, and I've decided that I want to help those. I want to do this with my life because the thought of men like Daniel Lackey roughing up 15-year-olds, I can't stand it. And I don't like the idea of him lying to the people in those buildings that were sitting in the pew. So tonight I want to show you a discussion that was taped a year ago with two Mormons that I had, a discussion I had with two Mormons. And lately, in our media, the Book of Mormon has been a big topic. Everybody's been talking about it, and the main reason is this man, Mitt Romney, a man running for the presidential election and a practicing Mormon. Now lately in the campaigns, everybody's been talking about their religion. They had to get together, some type of discussion the other day where everybody was talking about how God has influenced their life and everybody's involved with this and that. Everybody got emotional, but Mitt Romney wasn't there. Mitt Romney has been laying low as it comes to religion. Now why do you think that is? Why would he not want people to know what exactly it is that he promotes, what he believes? Why would he not want you to know about it? Friends, he doesn't want you to know because he doesn't want you to find the contradictions, the lies, and the racism that's put into the Book of Mormon. And this last year when I met with them, I talked with these Mormons, two Mormons together. My brother went with me, basically just to tape for me while I had this discussion with them. You won't get to see their faces at first, you will hear everything, but their faces will show up. This is how our discussion started. I read them a passage of their own book, and this is how it goes. Ask him to shake hands with you, but he will not move because it is contrary to the order of heaven for a just man to deceive, but he will still deliver his message.
That's talking about an angel when he comes to deliver a message from heaven.
Okay, well, this is... Now let's read exactly what their book says. Now it says in Doctrine and Covenants, section 129, verses 2. For instance, Jesus said, "Handle me and see, for a spirit hath not flesh and bones, and ye see me have. Secondly, the spirit of just man made perfect, they who are not resurrected, but inherit the same glory. When a messenger comes saying he has a message from God, offer him your hand, request him to shake hands with you. If he be an angel, he will do so, and ye will feel his hand. If he be the spirit of a just man made perfect, he will come in his glory, for that is the only way he can appear. Ask him to shake hands with you, but he will not move, because it is contrary to the order of heaven for a just man to deceive, but he will still deliver his message." Now, we just saw it. I read it, a just man made perfect, and it took all of 11 seconds for him to lie out of that discussion. That is exactly where Mormonism and denominations are these days. Now, it really didn't shock me that he would do that, like I said, because I had seen it at such a young age. When you are dishonest like that to go against God's word and promote a man-made doctrine, that's exactly what you get. What's another lie in the whole scheme of things? And I met with these, one of the men before. It was one different individual. One left and one came in. And before, based on that scripture where it says, don't shake their hand, and he'll say he has a message from God, I did that to one of these men, and this is me asking him about it. Okay, but it seemed then, I was kind of wondering, did you not know about you didn't know what I was doing the other day?
Well, we believe that revelation was given so that we might know it's a way of judging. That revelation was given so that we could discern whether it's a good spirit, an evil spirit, or if it's a resurrected being. A good spirit wouldn't deceive us, they wouldn't shake our hand, because they're contrary, they don't have a body. They're not going to try to shake our hand because they don't really have a hand to shake, they're just a spirit. If they're an evil spirit, they'll try to deceive us by shaking our hands, but if they don't have a body, we wouldn't feel anything. If they were a resurrected being, if they had been resurrected, they would shake our hand and we'd feel it because they'd have a body.
Now, I apologize if you couldn't hear all that. I didn't have my volume turned all the way up. But basically, I asked him if he knew what I was doing by not shaking his hand, and his answer to me was reading the scripture back to me, what I just read to him. He didn't know what I was doing. He left out of the first meeting, put his hand out, and I didn't move, and he just stared at me like I was crazy. And then I said, I have a message from God. And he just stood there like this. He didn't know what I was doing. Now the other man lied and said it wasn't a just man but an angel, and this other man doesn't know. But by me doing this with their own book, by me saying, not moving, not shaking his hand and saying I have a message from God, he has to take my message now. He has to hear me out based on his own book. But he doesn't even know about it, but yet he wants to trick you into believing in something that he is halfway unaware of.
My message is,
And based upon, like I said, he has to hear me out, so now I'm fixing to tell them what exactly my message is.
to ask questions, and this, your book is another testament. Well, Galatians 1:6, I marvel that ye are so removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel, which is not another, but there be some trouble you, and will pervert the gospel of Christ. So, my question is, or my message is, how can that be when the Bible says that there be not another gospel?
The message about Joseph Smith is we believe that he was called to restore all things the way it used to be. We don't believe that this is another gospel. We believe that this is restoring it to the original. It's like pressing the reset button. Okay.
Now, friends, do you believe in your Bible? Or do you think that it has fatal mistakes? Now, when I say fatal mistakes, I mean mistakes in the Bible that can keep you from attaining eternal salvation. I don't believe that, but they do, and they do teach that, and they want you to believe it too. They think the Word of God is an imperfect book that needs the Book of Mormon to make it correct. And he says, we don't think it's another gospel. I'd say it's another gospel. It teaches a whole other story than what the Bible does. It's not mentioned in the Bible, and the Bible would teach against it. And just like he said, the Book of Mormon is like Joseph Smith hitting the restart button on all of the Bible's errors. We don't need Joseph Smith to hit a restart button for us. What we need to do is hit an erase button on the Book of Mormon. That's a false doctrine that's sending people to hell. Now, I read to him Galatians 1:6-8, I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called ye into the grace of Christ unto another gospel, which is not another. But there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Christ. But though we are an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you, that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. Now, at this point in the discussion, I read that to them and ask them how they could possibly hold to their idea with this verse still being in existence. And here's his answer.
And it says, or in an angel from heaven, but though we, or an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you, than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. It's stated here that there isn't another gospel or an angel, as you said a moment ago, an angel from heaven. How does that go with this?
Well, in Revelation somewhere it talks about a angel holding the everlasting gospel in his hands, something. The angel Moroni came with the everlasting gospel. Okay? It's not a different gospel. It's the same gospel that Christ preached. Everyone else is hearing the different gospel. And we're trying to restore it to that purity that it used to be.
Okay, question.
Now, his answer is, we don't think it to be another gospel. But to me, Galatians 1:6 sounds like it's tailor-made for the Book of Mormon. We don't teach another gospel. That's another gospel. It's a gospel you don't read about in God's Word. And though it be an angel, who gives it to him? Angel Moroni. And whatever he said about something in Revelation, I don't understand how that possibly helped his statement. The only thing I could possibly gather that he was getting at was Revelations 10:9, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. Now, if that's what he was getting at, and like I said, that's all I could gather that it would be, how does that help him? How is that a new gospel? And if anything, that's saying bittersweet, and that's exactly what Mormonism would be. And these men are just going right against God's Word, and they're fine with doing it. and they're taking people with them. But really, this discussion only gets worse from where it's been. And he said, we're trying to make it pure. Friends, do you know that Joseph Smith was supposedly called by God to translate the Bible to its perfect state? Joseph Smith wrote in his book that God called him to fix God's imperfect word. Now, can you believe that somebody would say that about themselves? God called me to fix His word. Now, we read in the Doctrine and Covenant, section 73, verse 2, and then behold, it shall be made known unto them by the voice of the conference their several missions. Now verily I say unto you, my servants Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon, saith the Lord, it is expedient to translate again, and inasmuch as it is practicable to preach the regions round about until conference, and after that it is expedient to continue the work of translation until it be finished. Until it be finished, he didn't even do it to begin with. We don't have, through Joseph Smith, a more perfect Bible. Anything else, we just have a book of confusion that's given to go along with the Bible. That's all he did, was put his 2 cents in, and it has confused and ruined people's minds and is condemning people to hell. The Mormons are following Joseph Smith, someone who they say is called by God but failed. Someone who's been prophesied to fix everything, but he really didn't, but yet they still want to elevate him over God's Word. Now, I asked him about the translating that Joseph Smith was supposed to do, and I asked him about it here.
Okay, the question with that is, why didn't he? Joseph Smith was a translator and was commanded to translate it. So, in his time, why, if he was commanded, why did he not translate this correctly? So that we didn't just have so many books like Pearl of Great Price, Doctrine and Covenant, and the Bible that's not good.
That is. Do you have the LDS version of the King James Bible?
No, I'm just kind of using just King James.
In the LDS version of the King James Bible, in the footnotes, there are some of the corrections.
Now, did you hear what he said to me? Upon my question of asking Joseph Smith, who was called to translate it, why didn't he translate it? And he said, well, if you use our Mormon Bible, we have footnotes in it. Footnotes are not a translation. They're certainly not a perfect translation, and Joseph Smith didn't even make those footnotes. We're going into something now. He's another lie based on their doctrine. And now we have the question, someone who's called, why didn't he do it? The time on earth that he had, he's prophesied, why didn't he do it? But at least we have the footnotes in our Mormon Bibles. And we read in their book, Doctrine and Covenants, section 95, verse 52 and 53, and let my servant Joseph Smith and Frederick G. Williams make haste also, and it shall be given them according to the prayer of faith, inasmuch as ye keep my sayings, ye shall not be confounded in this world, nor in the world to come. And verily I say unto you, that it is my will that you should hasten to translate my scriptures, and to obtain knowledge of history, and of countries, and of kingdoms, and of laws of God and man, and all the salvation of Zion. Amen. Now, if you caught the word confounded, that's exactly what the Book of Mormon will do to people. Confounded and confused, we're mixed up. And guess what? We have the man who was supposed to make it perfect, and he's the author of confusion. Joseph Smith failed, and now we're still confused. We can't make out what we're supposed to do in life, because guess what? This Bible, based on what he says, that's garbage. You're not going to do anything with this, and you're sure not going to do anything with the Book of Mormon. So really, by what they teach, we're completely lost, and what can we do about it? But thankfully, the Book of Mormon is a lie, and we're not bound to it by any means. We do have the Word of God, and that's what saves us today. Now, I've just asked that question, and in this moment, you can see that they really don't like the camera, and let's just see what they have to say.
I'm trying to find exactly where it is in this book.
Just curious, what's the camera for?
We're just kind of wanting to document it maybe for later notes or something.
just document the whole visit, really.
So what is the purpose of this visit?
Kind of questions I wanted to get your thought on what happened the other day.
Okay.
Are you? Is the purpose of this visit is to get us to think? What
I
about?
guess. Well, it started out with the just man made perfect, and now I had another question I'd like to ask.
Okay.
So, coming up, I have another question, but here, he says, what's the point in the camera? What's the point in this visit? Well, we're obviously having a biblical discussion, but something has them put off for whatever reason. Now, is the camera really that disturbing? I've got a camera right here in front of me, and right now it's not bothering me too much. It's the fact that people are seeing me is. Now, the camera itself isn't hurting me. What is the presence of the camera? Why did they feel they need to steal my camera when I was 15? Aborigines in Papua New Guinea say that a camera will steal part of your soul. I believe that denominations are fixing to get to this point. Don't point your camera at me or you're going to steal part of my soul. You hate to be on camera so much, and that's where you're headed. And they really don't like this next question that's coming. If we look in their book of Jacob 2, verse 23, for they seek to excuse themselves in committing whoredoms because of the things which are written concerning David and Solomon his son. Behold, David and Solomon truly had many wives and concubines, which thing was abominable before me, saith the Lord. Go to verse 26. Wherefore the Lord will not suffer that these people shall do like unto them of old. Wherefore, my brethren, hear me and hearken to the word of the Lord, for there shall not any man among you have save it be one wife, and concubines he shall have none. For I, the Lord God, delight in the chastity of women, and whoredoms are an abomination before me, thus saith the Lord of hosts. Now keep in mind what that verse just said, that he had many wives and concubines, and it was an abomination before the Lord. Now we read in Doctrines and Covenants, section 132, verses 38 and 39. David also received many wives and concubines, and also Solomon and Moses my servants, as also many others of my servants, from the beginning of creation until this time. And in nothing did they sin, save in those things which they received not of me. David and David's wives and concubines were given unto him of me. Now in one section, it's an abomination. In the other, God himself is giving David and these wives and concubines. Now, which is it? What are they going to go with? And here's what they have to say about it. Question I'd like to ask. Okay. And this is where they're fixing to come into view. You're fixing to get to see these people. See, Doctrine and Covenants 132 and 39. It says, David's wives and concubines were given unto him of me, but the hand of Nathan my servant and others of the prophets who had the keys of this power. And as none of these things did he sin against me, save in the case of Uriah and his wife. And then in Jacob 2:24, behold, David and Solomon truly had many wives and concubines, which thing was an abomination, was abominable before me. So it just contradicts itself right there, and that's my question. You wouldn't say that the Bible is translated correctly, yet the Book of Mormon contradicts itself.
Well, it's no secret that David didn't make mistakes. Well, there's no secret that David made mistakes. He made a lot of them, especially with Uriah the Hittite. That was the one that he wasn't able to gain forgiveness of. I'm pretty sure there are many other instances where he was likely to fornicate and to bring in wives and concubines that were not ordained or appropriate.
That's not really helping me see that how this is making the Bible better is the purpose of the Book of Mormon. But
its purpose is to prove that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior.
Now, if you heard that, you see that he basically went around my question. How is the Book of Mormon, with it being contradicting itself, how is it able to be the book that makes the Bible more perfect in its more perfect state? Now, he went around and just said, well, yeah, David made his mistakes. Well, that's not really what I asked. I wanted to know how they with their book, explain that their book can be the perfect version to make it perfect, but yet still go ahead and have its own contradictions.
The Bible is not translated perfectly, but this, would you say, is?
It's more correct.
Okay, but yet it contradicts itself.
In the introduction, it says that if there are mistakes, they are mistakes of man.
So
It's still a book that is valuable. It's been translated as best as possible.
As best as possible, I thought it was supposed to be perfect. Where did that go to? Where did the idea of it being perfect go to? And he just said if there are mistakes, well, now we're just admitting there are mistakes and they be made a man. Well, what's Joseph Smith? He's the one called to translate. He's just a man and he failed. Now, where are we at now?
There's still many things in the Book of Mormon that
Joseph Smith, who was supposed to translate the Bible correctly and didn't get his own book right.
Caleb, what's the purpose of this?
I asked him, how are we supposed to trust the Book of Mormon that's better than this when he couldn't get his own book right? He didn't have an answer for that because you can't answer it. But the true answer is we can't trust it. But based on him, we can't trust God either. Now get ready for what his partner is fixing to say. His partner is fixing to get a little bit upset.
I'm trying to get some reasoning out of this. I mean, if this is not corrected, I mean, it's not correct. You would say that it was translated correctly.
Are you honestly trying to get truth out of this, or are you here to bash?
I'm trying to get your honest opinion on this, of how this is wrong, this is not translated correctly, but yet your book can contradict itself and it be fine. How is it?
Did you hear what he asked me? Or are you just here to bash? Friends, at that time, I couldn't have bashed them if I even wanted to. I was so nervous. You can just ask my brother on the way down there. I barely talked to him. I was thinking so hard about what was going to be done. But just think of, here I am, wanting to have a discussion with them, and now I'm bashing them when they get a question that they didn't like. Now, I'm trying to be honest. I want the truth to be put out, but now I'm bashing. They don't want your questions is what it is. When they get a question they can't answer, they for sure don't want it. Now, at the Church of Christ, we welcome questions. We have tent meetings, and we always invite people to come out and ask questions. And we have a call-in broadcast. We want you to ask questions, and we want to try and do our best that we can answer them. And you can sure tell that he still doesn't like this camera, bashing and everything else. He doesn't want this to be on. And now that he's kind of getting upset, you know, we have a little bit more talk, and I told them, well, thanks for taking the time, and I appreciate you coming out, and here's what comes after that.
I just want to say really quick, the Book of Mormon is the true book of God. I testify to that. I know for a fact that the Book of Mormon...
He testifies that. He's just a man. Who was he? He just said a moment ago, we can't trust men.
It's true because I've tested it. I've taken the promise in Moroni, chapter 10, 3 through 5, and it's blessed my life. So,
Even though it contradicts itself, you still...
I would lay my life down.
That's a
for the Book of
pretty big
Mormon.
contradiction for one to be an abomination, but then it's no sin against me.
So, one question.
Did y'all notice that face he made? I said that's a pretty big contradiction. He just kind of, you know, rolled his eyes at it. How can you explain that? That's nothing, not a matter to roll your eyes at. If you're honest, you see that, and you should be concerned about it. You should be wondering yourself how that is. Now his friend, after that little testimony he just gave, this is what his friend asked me.
One question I have. If the Book of Mormon is false, will we go to hell for believing in it?
Yes.
That's sad.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty sad, but I mean,
Very
we have the Bible, and it's giving things against your book, the book that he came and to help go with the Bible. To help it go with the Bible, pretty much everything in the Bible is going against this. Like, to no other doctrines, but we have a new doctrine to help out something that said no other doctrines.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
That's an interesting way to look at it, he says. Well, if you look at it through God's Word, it says in Galatians 1:6 that an angel presented another thing, let him be accursed. Now, what can we say for this? How could you possibly think that you're going to present something that's not God's Word and possibly get where God's at? You don't believe what God says. Why would you think you have an eternity to be with Him? Now, I know at this point, I kind of have the impression that he wasn't really liking the outcome of this. He kind of seemed like he was genuine there, that, you know, it's sad, and it is sad, people that are being taught this type of thing. Dad had a discussion with a Mormon years ago in the Pacific, and the man told him, I don't like the way we've been treated in this instance. And he left, and Dad left out of there not knowing how that he would be affected or if he was at all. A year later, that man looked up Dad and said that he wanted to discuss with him again. Who knows what has been happened with these individuals? I hope that they've seen the error in the Book of Mormon and that they're making the choices they need to make to come out of this. And now he asks me, he's trying to say that the Bible has its own contradictions.
Where does it say no other doctrines?
No other gospel. Galatians.
Read that one to me again.
I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel, which is not another. But there be some that trouble you and will pervert the gospel of Christ. But though we are an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed.
Okay. How many other books came after Galatians?
I don't know, he said several. I mean, in the Bible itself, or do you mean whole other books?
In itself. Because doesn't that contradict itself right there? If it says no other books?
It's all, I mean, it's all the Bible.
But they were all written after Galatians.
By the same people that coincided together, by the 12 apostles.
I'm just making my point.
Okay, I'm listening to you.
See,
Now his point is that since there were books that came after Galatians, that makes them a contradiction. Now let's really look at that. Books that come after Galatians that teach the same thing that's been taught in the Bible, all in one book, yeah, I believe that's a contradiction. You're right. I mean, talk about grasping at straws. That's exactly what he was doing here. Now they see it, and they'll tell you the one thing that you need to learn all this is you have to have the Holy Spirit. And what does he say here? How do you know that you have the Holy Spirit? It will cause your bosom, your bosom shall burn within you. Now, who else says that? The Methodist Church. How about that? The Methodists and the Mormons are in the same boat. Wesley would say, I felt a heart, what's that say? I felt my heart strangely warmed. Let me tell you, my ears are on fire right now just because I'm so nervous. Does that mean I have the Holy Spirit? I'm just nervous. You could have any number of things as why your chest is hot or warmed or anything like that. But they want you to believe this type of thing, and that's exactly why Mitt Romney doesn't want you to get into this. But the main reason Mitt Romney doesn't want you to get in is because he doesn't want to let you know about anything, is because he's nervous that you might find 3 Nephi 2:15. And their curse was taken from them, and their skin became white like unto the Nephites. The Book of Mormon teaches that if your skin is dark, you have a curse. Now Mitt Romney, I bet he sweats bullets when he thinks this could possibly be brought up. Do you know why? Because pretty soon he might need your curse votes. Then where will he be? He knows if he doesn't have the entire black community to vote for him, there's no way he's going to win. And the reason that he's laying low is exactly that. He doesn't want you to see the faults that are with the Book of Mormon. Friends, tonight, I hope that I was able to help with any type of questions that you might have had or doubts about this book. I hope that everything that I did came across in a well manner. I hope that I didn't come across as haughty or any type of form of that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Please stick around, and Dad will be right with us after this commercial.